Greetings, Moonlight Citizens. Man on the Moon here with yet another episode of Moonlight Kingdom Podcast. I'm sorry, I just saw something really funny. Um, this episode covers the ending of Loki, Gotham. Well, not the ending of Gotham, but like we also cover Gotham and some other stuff. Like Gotham, Swamp Thing. Uh, no, wait. Yeah, I think we got that at the end. He Who Remains, the last episode, we basically go through the entire last episode. So, the spoiler alert. I mean, it's been a while, but like still. Ready to blast off in 3, 2, 1.
Stone, given that they're both green, and the time stone kind of controls every element of time in the universe, and now Loki himself controls like space-time and the flow of time and the multiverse as a whole. It's funny.
It certainly is, considering the fact that over the course of like that episode and technically the course of the show, he was using like that ability to consciously and unconsciously travel backwards and forwards through time, ultimately ending up at that point. But like that ending, I want to discuss because when he gets to Kang, or like, well, not Kang, He Who Remains, and he's like, what makes you think this is the first time we've had this conversation? That's the point where I'm like, like, damn, he's got it on lock that quick, huh? Because it seemed that way since every time before that, when he was using the ability, we saw him going through those moments over and over and over, and yet at the very end, it's like, snap. What makes you think this is the first time this has happened? It's like, oh, okay. He's got it now.
Even surprised him because I guess he'd figured when we, saw that it was like, centuries later because they told us. We knew that in some capacity his skills have improved, not even from just a time perspective, but even just from an intelligence perspective. But it seems like it improved so much, it superseded He Who Remains, I guess, intended thoughts on where he would be. Like, it like exceeded his own expectations to be like, okay, well, just keep at it. You know you had it for a while, just keep at it. You'll get the hang of it soon enough. And then, boom, he just one-ups him and goes, oh, you think I haven't gotten it yet? I've gotten it, believe you me. And he just like, whoa, so you are a monster. That was also very surprising as well. Because we don't really have an idea just how powerful he has become. We have like a small, idea, obviously. But even He Who Remains couldn't anticipate just how much he would progress in the time of the loom blowing up, everything resetting, and then him having to realize what needs to be done. I think he even surprised him.
It also surprised him ultimately what Loki ended up doing, as opposed to the choices he gave. The choices he gave was, either like, not the universe, like the multiverse ends, with you essentially die trying, or B, you kill Sylvie and you stop all of this from happening in the first place, and I end up like right back here like I planned. Rather than take those...
He chose option 3.
Yeah. To be the guy, it circles back to like what Cap said about Tony and Iron Man, and with this Avengers, it's like, you're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, but everything up until this point has been setting up that Loki is in fact that guy. I know that line wasn't referring to him specifically, but it shows like, okay, he's able to put his own needs, like, beyond everyone else's. It's like, for the sake of the universe, he's willing to put aside, his own wants, his own desires to like go through with this. And one would think that normally in any other, like, say this was done by anyone else, his decision to make the hard choices would have been killing Sylvie. Right? Yeah. Thing is, this ending bugs me. It's just how, yeah, it's a happy ending, the happiest ending we could have gotten. But like, in its pursuit to achieve a happy ending, it just came across so, it's like a Pyrrhic victory, man. Like, yeah, we won, but like, did we? I mean, yeah, the multiverse is safe. No one's gonna spaghettify, but like, the aftermath is just so defeatist of it. You know, like, Mobius is like, I spent so much time saving the world, I want to go out and see what it is I've been saving. And what that amounts to is him just looking at a family playing in the front yard, seeing a jet ski on dry land, and just watching from afar. Like, I thought when he's, yeah, it's sad, dude. Like, it's like, what? The dude was like, I want to see what it is I've been saving. You'd think he meant like he wants to experience what it is he's been saving.
That life.
Yeah.
Just like Brad.
Not just watch that live.
Peering in vicariously.
Yeah.
I mean, he's living vicariously through himself anyway. Why not just, or maybe he realizes that person isn't Mobius. It's just, it's him but not him, you know? Like, imagine a version of you who was just not you at all. Didn't even have the same name. Didn't even live the same lifestyle.
But he's living a kind of life you want,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Like, would you even want to enter his life? I mean, it might look like a good life, but it's not really your life. In a way, it's kind of like he's allowing that version of him to experience life. He's giving him the opportunity, the chance to live. But also he yearns for that same life as well. But instead of becoming that life, he just kind of peers at it from a very, like, yearning perspective, but also understanding that he has his own life. He's picked his life. But now the question stands, where will he now belong? He's practically left the TVA. Is he just going to spend the entirety of the rest of his natural life peering at different versions of himself? I don't know. It's not like he just went down to Earth for like 35 minutes to look at himself, and then he's gonna go, you know, he's gonna call fucking Hunter B-15 and go, oh well, yeah, anyway, I'm done with that. Where's my seat at the table? You know, initially it seemed like it would be a permanent, like, leave of absence. Like, this is it for me. I've had my fill for 1,000 years or whatever. I realize there's more to life out there, and I'm done. But what are you going to do with your life now? You aren't even becoming your other self, what you could have been in a natural world where you were allowed autonomy. Makes no sense. I don't know.
It's usually the case, because normally when a character's like, you know, I spent so much time saving the world, I want to see what it is I've been saving, they want to go out and do something. Like Gwen in literally the first episode of Omniverse, she was gonna, like, you know, leave Ben and go finish her time in college. That's what she meant by see what it is she's been saving all this time. She wanted to see what civilian life was like. In terms of Mobius, he really just wanted to see it. Like, he didn't have an express purpose to go out and do anything. And just his look
exactly.
of,
so,
yeah.
What will it be now? You know?
That's a big question to ask, because this has been dude's life for Lord knows how many. I mean, time works differently in the TVA, but like, let's say centuries. This has been dude's life for his whole,
yeah. Like, I mean, they literally have memories spanning 400 years. So,
Yeah.
what will he do now?
I don't know,
Is
man.
he just gonna appear at his natural self that ages until he dies? Like, until, actual human aging Mobius. What's his name? Frank? No, that's Casey. What's this guy's name? What's real Mobius, like, Mobius?
I wasn't paying attention, man. I don't know. Is he some family man with kid? Whatever.
Call him Greg. But, like, is he just gonna watch Greg till he turns, like, 89 and dies? And then he's gonna just pack up and go to another reality? Is he gonna become Greg? Is he one day just gonna, like, okay, let's say Greg dies at like 54. Is he just gonna become Greg? Like, what's gonna happen? Because this can't be it in terms of you deciding to leave your life to find more meaning. You can't just fucking peer yourself for 30 years and that's it. It's kind of creepy.
Very much so, but just it's very fitting with the tone of this ending. Like, just like it's a happy ending, but like, is it really? I mean, these people are alive, but they're not necessarily living. Yeah.
Because if anything, it's making him sadder. He realizes that, oh wow, this is what I could have been doing instead of being kidnapped against my will, having my memory wiped, being forced into servitude in an intergalactic organization. Is this what I could have been doing? If anything, it just made him sadder. I mean, that's the whole theme of Loki, I guess. There's no true happy ending. I mean, sometimes you gotta make a tough call. You don't get to spend the rest of your life with your friends, or you don't get the happy ending that you perceive in your mind. There was a point where, what did he say?
There was this moment where he went back to see Mobius back in like he traveled back to episode 1.
Yeah, he traveled back himself when he just got captured, and then he asked that Mobius for advice.
Yeah, he was basically telling him, like, sometimes you don't get a happy ending. You just gotta pick the ending you can live with.
Yeah, like, you choose the bad stuff that you can handle, like, so I guess that's just the thing, like, and even more brilliantly is they avoided that love angle that I feel like someone added, that they just went whoop and just completely backtracked on brilliantly. No love, no kiss, no romance, like nothing. It was purely serious, straight to the point. There are things that need to be done, otherwise the whole universe unravels. And everyone is separated and disjointed, but the world is saved. And that's all that matters. And protecting the world is the greater good. And that's it. The end. Oh well.
Yeah, it was just so. Like, thing is, it also made me mad because he was presented with the option of, okay, either sacrifice the multiverse or kill Sylvie, or I essentially sacrifice my own joy, my own happiness to be the linchpin for the multiverse. And I think it's a happy ending, but it also makes me mad because the character who started all this crap gets away with it. Like, the person who set all this crap in motion in the first place, who's responsible for all this nonsense, essentially just gets to get away with it. And even throughout this season, I mean, didn't really see the whole universe unraveling as a problem until it was affecting her. Just...
Yeah, if there's one thing I don't quite get, Sylvie played a very minuscule and insignificant role in this season. I don't even know why they brought her back besides Sophia DiMartino having a 2-season contract. She did nothing. There were no repercussions for what she did. She didn't lose anything precious. She could literally, once again, re-travel to the 70s with a fucking tempad that she stole from He Who Remains, which nobody, again, knew about. Not a single person knew or asked her, hey, Sylvie, where's the tempad you used to kick Loki? Like, there was literally no consequences for her. And that was so confusing. I don't know. But she literally got nothing. In fact, I would say the past version of her got any small bit of repercussions. Though, I don't know, man. It's so weird. I don't even know. Did Sylvie help in any meaningful way? Because, let's look at this. Loki is the one who figured out the key. It's not about, when. It's not about when, it's about fiction. And he figured out time slipping. He figured out, okay, this temporal loom thing won't work. What do I do now? I have to transform. I have to take everything that I've learned, and now I have to go back to where it all began. That day she killed He Who Remains. And then once he's there, he realizes, okay, for all the knowledge, he literally spent centuries figuring out how to be as smart as, Victor Timely at least, / Ouroboros, to even be able to understand whatever complicated math, physics thing that they were talking about. He did everything. Sylvie didn't do jack. She just sat in the 70s, ordered a fucking burger, felt no remorse, didn't even want to help Loki, try to gaslight him into thinking the only reason he wants to save things is so he can be with his friends. Oh, he literally saw reality unraveling. You only believed him when your reality started unraveling. She did not have any microdium bit of effort. She did nothing. I'm so confused.
Friggin' Frank had more to do in this season than friggin' Sylvie did, dude.
Frank is some sort of scientist. You can't hang with Ouroboros without being a little bit smart.
Yeah.
Fucking Hunter B-15 did more than Sylvie. Jesus Christ.
Characters that was just B characters in season 1 had whole arcs in this season. Dude.
They killed the extra. They killed the TVA extras. R.I.P. to them. We didn't even see them die. That's how unimportant they were.
That was gruesome. That was gruesome, dude. I know we didn't see anything, but still, that was gruesome.
Yeah, it sounded gruesome because obviously, we saw what that thing could do, and actually ended up doing it to a whole bunch of nobodies, I guess. They were quite noble. But, okay, here's what I don't get as well. They died for nothing. Because, the entire time, you have this, two sides, right? You have Minutes and Renslayer, Team 1. They have their own agenda. Then you have Loki and Co. Team 2. This entire time, they've been arguing, fighting over what to do. They don't give a fuck that Loki's trying to fix the loom. They literally know the plan originally. And then they go, we don't care. We have our own agenda. They give a book to Victor Timely, and they want to take out the TVA and XYZ, ABC, and they kill a whole bunch of hunters. Cool. Loki time slips earlier now because he realizes we're too late in the time in which we send Victor out. We're too late. It needs to be earlier, hours earlier, or minutes earlier, or whatever. So now he time slips to when they still had him in the boardroom, and they go, listen, I know we're fighting. Here's what it is. If you don't do this, the whole universe dies. Didn't they know that originally? Didn't they know that if Victor was kept in this room, things would be fucked? Like, why do they only then suddenly go, all right, fine, you can have him. Go save the fucking TVA. Like, did it really take that much convincing, considering Loki did it in, like, you know, however long he took to convince him in the boardroom, which just seemed like 20 seconds of speaking. What was their actual agenda if all they needed to do was tell them, look, you guys are being dumb. The thing you're trying to take over won't exist if this guy doesn't come with us. So it was just useless. And then even after they got Victor, but I guess it didn't matter because Renslayer was still in the void of time. I thought to myself, wait, why is she still there? And then I remembered, alright, everything Loki did when he kept, time slipping / traveling, it kind of meant nothing. It kind of meant, considering that he just ended up going into the room and, destroying the loom and then becoming the loom himself, everything that he did kind of fizzled off into time because Renslayer was still pruned, just like in the original way when they pruned her in the boardroom before, so I guess she's still there. I guess it's probably gonna tie into Dip 3, considering that Renslayer is in that movie, and we do see the TVA in that movie. But also even about that, the TVA's focus now being on hunting down variants of HRW. How does that now lead into Wade Wilson? Or is he a new anomaly that they never expected, and they're gonna have to shelve finding variants of HRW to focus on Deadpool 3? It's strange, right?
Yeah, another thing that was strange, that, I grant you, that definitely is a lot to take in, this ending. It certainly raised a lot of questions. It answered very few. But ultimately, I think you said Strange, and I'm just thinking, hey, wait a minute. Strange is out here somewhere. And, Clara was like,
yes.
You caused
What's he doing right now?
I don't know, fixing his incursion? Didn't she say he caused one or something?
Yeah, him and Kia.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying, dude, wouldn't an incursion be on the TVA's radar? Wouldn't they be looking into Strange and all the stuff he's doing? Or is this supposed to happen? Is this on the sacred timeline?
I think it's supposed to happen, given that everything that happens concurrently is in the service of making sure that HRW is still born in the 31st century, because that's where he originally comes from. But then it's also to ensure that other variants don't cross over into the sacred timeline to prevent the original. Okay, wait, so, new question. The man born in the 31st century, is that HRW or is that Kang? Who is that man? Or are we yet to meet him?
I would wager we're yet to meet him, or at least an early version of him. We haven't met that version yet. We've met the guy he becomes. We know who that is. Another question you could probably ask is, what the hell happened to Victor Timely?
I thought he was transported, every element of him was ripped.
No.
Just
We're not in.
ripped.
We're not
You know,
there, dude. Like he
thought
was saved.
that's a problem.
He was saved in the end.
But then, okay, think about this, Doc. Remember what I said about Renslayer? The only Renslayer was pruned in every instance of Loki traveling was the one who was pruned before Loki even got the squad together. That's the only Renslayer we saw getting pruned. So we're to believe that everything that happened in between that space is null and void. Because Renslayer is still pruned. So maybe they send him back to 19 or something, but then also we see that they did rectify the past. Because it seems to be that Victor Time from the 1800s at least. He was never, okay, let's call him, what's his actual name again? It's not Franklin.
I don't know. I know he's Richards
Something
though.
Richards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something Richards. Victor Richards? I'm not sure.
Let's just say Richards for now and move on. Like, we'll figure it out later.
Nathaniel. Okay.
Yeah, Nathaniel. Yeah.
Nathaniel. So, we're to assume that the Nathaniel from the 1800s was just placed there as a contingency plan by HRW Nathaniel. Now, obviously, they changed everything. So now, that Nathaniel no longer gets a TVA handbook falling into his window. So he still carries on being a candle maker. And he probably just has a normal life. He'll live and die.
No, he does. He does get a book. We do see the book fall in the window. He looks over to it, but he doesn't.
Not in the last scene, because he looks back. There's no window movement. It's kind of like when you change something in the timeline, and it kind of plays out the same way, except there's one difference. In the original timeline, Renslayer, dropped the book, and then he stood up from his chair and picked it up. But at the end of the series now, we saw that he looked back at the window, nothing happened, and then he turned back, carried on pouring the wax in the candle molds. So nothing happened now. He was never interfered with. That's the thing. So they reset it, but then even with that, what now happens to the Nathaniel who was interfered with, who does know the TVA, who can build a temporal loom? What happens to him?
They didn't prune him.
Is he returned back into... Is he transported back into a branch timeline? Because now that, every timeline can exist, they can just put it back to where he was. Then what does he become? Does he become a famous inventor who inspires people like Howard Stark? Where does he go? We did see that his past self never got the book. Does that delete him? No, it doesn't, because we know that in the MCU...
That's not how time travel works, yeah.
Changing the past doesn't change the future. If you kick that version of... fine, let's say you saw his Lego. If you saw the Lego for Kid Nathaniel, Victor Timely won't suddenly be a man with one leg. He'll still be a man with two legs. But then what it'll do is it'll create another branch timeline where he grows up to only have one leg. So nothing can ever interfere with Victor Timely, who's privy of the TVA. Nothing can ever. Because we know that that's not how time travel works in Marvel. So he still exists. He still has his knowledge. And he still exists. We just don't know what happened to him. But they created, or rather fixed. So, okay, what we can say is that Nathaniel Richards, as a kid who lives on a sacred timeline, will remain smart, obviously, given that he is a Nathaniel. He remains a regular man of the 1800s. The Victor Timely who knows about TVA is we do know that the Victor Timely from the TVA, he's no longer a part of the sacred timeline anymore because he was interfering as a kid. That means what they actually did was they rectified the sacred timeline by stopping that instance of him getting the book. So, in that capacity, the sacred timeline has been fixed. He no longer gets the book. But there's still an adult version who did get the book as a kid, and he knows everything. So he's somewhere. We don't know where he is. Maybe, again, like I said, maybe he was just sent back to his branched reality Earth, because we saw it was like, 18 something. It was the Chicago World Fair. But I remember in that episode, they showed the year, and they said dash branched timeline. So that one still exists. They probably just sent him back there. But then, what would stop him from advancing? What would stop him from creating more things? That's now a new MCU Earth that's probably a little bit more technologically advanced, given that Victor Timely now knows what a coffee machine is. So he'll probably invent that and other things. So that just creates a new branch timeline we'll probably never see again. Probably.
Most likely. It's definitely, yeah, that's another thing, man. It adds to, like, the disconnected nature of this phase and the phase that came before it, man. Like, there are moments that will lead you down paths that will ultimately go nowhere. Freaking
Exactly.
Look at What If, man. Look at What If, dude. What if there are so many ideas that were in there that were like, because remember there was like the one zombie What If where the whole like MCU was zombies, and initially Phase 4 was gonna have a Marvel zombie story somewhere. They canned that along with the Spider-Man animated prequel. So now it's like, well, does that mean the What If thing is a dead end now? Does that mean all of What If is a dead end? Because if you remember, they were like, in the What If they had Captain Carter, and then it was like, oh man, Multiverse of Madness is gonna have Captain Carter, and Multiverse of Madness came out and it's like, it's not the same Captain Carter. That's someone else entirely. So it's like, what the... Even Strange, you remember the evil Strange, when we were seeing No Way Home, and they put that trailer at the end. Plus, dude, I still laugh at that, dude. They just, instead of putting a clip from MOM, they just put the trailer for MOM at the end of No Way Home. Like, what the... Why?
That was a very strange choice.
Dude, like, it wasn't even... The thing is, because it was literally not even minutes after we saw the movie, we were coming out of it like, bro, that was dumb. Because we both knew, not even a week later, the damn trailer would just drop on YouTube. So, what was the point of that? I mean... Yeah, putting it at the end of the movie. If it was a thing like, we're gonna put this trailer at the end of the movie to, like, force people to go see the movie. People are gonna see it anyway, but it's gonna drive people to, like, go see the movie. And Marvel was like, you can only see it at the end of this movie. Instead of, like, putting it on YouTube a month later, they were like, we're not gonna put it on YouTube, not on any of our official channels. The only way you can see it is if you go see the movie. That would have made sense. But they didn't do that. So it's just... whatever, man.
It's so strange, yeah.
Very strange. Anyway, circling back to Strange, you remember when we were watching that trailer, End of No Way Home, and we saw sinister-looking Strange pop up, and he was like, things just got out of hand. Immediately, we thought, that's the Strange from What If. Yeah, we thought that was the evil Strange from What If, but it wasn't. It was just an evil Strange variant. Like,
and kind of less powerful, much less powerful.
Yeah. That
It's weird.
MOM, a lot of MOM working and a lot of those cameos meaning anything hinged on the viewer having seen What If.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way we understood, oh, okay, the universe is tearing apart because incursion.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know that, you'd be like, wait, what the fuck is happening? What? What's that? What are these black thingies, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is not a good way. I think it's like in that sense of the phase, okay, there's some connective tissue between the properties. You would think that, but in reality, the thing that it's seemingly connecting to vehemently denies that and says, no, MOM has nothing to do with what if. What if exists in its own thing. So it's like you preyed on our knowledge of having seen What If to trick us into seeing this movie because we thought it tied in, only to reveal it doesn't tie in at all. Now that's cruel.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know what exactly they're trying, because it seems like as much as they try and link things and add tidbits, nothing, like, these things are sticking. I feel like they're just throwing so many things on the wall. And it's like only a few things are sticking. It's strange, because even with like this, man, like, okay, just take this movie, The Marvels. And you don't understand, like, the movie itself had very little significance to like the greater universe. Because, like, okay, cool. What did we learn? Monica has powers.
We already knew that, but
Kamala is now a part of a team. Not really. She's going to be. So, like, what's the point? Because, like, they set up so many things. It's kind of like Doctor Strange. Wait, first of all, you had him screaming out in pain and terror, and you're like, oh my fuck, what's happening? Oh my fuck, is someone trying to get into his mind? Is someone trying to, is an evil strange trying to, like, dream walk? And then his third eye opens. So we think, okay, is this happening? Is someone trying to dream walk into him? That's why he's getting a third eye? But that just gets immediately cancelled, and then now he's clear. Like in this ended was like, Kamala doing an unfunny impression of Nick Fury from Iron Man 1. And then Kate she doesn't answer her, but obviously she's going to say yes. And then it just cuts to, okay, boom, she's in another universe. So, she's now in another universe. For what? To what end? It's like there's no causality or commonality between these two things. They're just random. They just happen. They can at least be like, okay, she's trapped somewhere. Like, she's maybe she even meets someone who has a hand in something that's happening right now. Like, okay, maybe she meets the Guardians. Just throwing a random thing out there. Like, something that can link. Like, oh, okay, the first person she sees is Groot. Adult Groot, as big as he is. But she's just in another universe. Like at least see Thor or something, like just completely random, low payoff. The payoff will be like in 4 years, 5 years time, 6 years time. I don't understand.
this isn't even the first time this has happened with Kamala. Dude, her own show did this same thing. In the last episode, her friend talked about like her DNA, and she was like, there's some kind of mutation. And in the background here, like, where did that go?
If been trapped there. Because look, okay, see, if you get a chance, watch the movie. If you don't, it's fine. Wait for the HD. Because let me just give you a quick rundown. I mean, we saw the trailers, right? Darben has another bracelet. She found, one of the clandestine bracelets that were hidden on like a fucking random like moon-ish planet, like no life, just like it looks like a moon. And then she found the other bracelet there. That bracelet, once combined with the second one, opens up those jump points. And apparently, in the beginning of not time, I would just say in the beginning of modern civilization, the clandestines or whoever was using the bangles at the time used those two bangles to create the jump points, like literally craft them. So in creating those jump points, they linked points in space-time permanently. And specific sections of space open up to other specific versions as pinpointed by whoever created them. They don't specifically say, I think they said it was the clandestines, but yeah, whoever was using the bangles, they created these jump points. So now, Darben had both of them because she wanted to fix Hala, because ever since Carol waged a war on that planet, it's become desolate and just a barren wasteland. Not like a wasteland, but it's pretty much like Earth in 2075, like what we see in What If, like ants dying and, the sun is, almost kaput and whatever. So Darben's plan is to steal the atmosphere and sun of another point in space-time to save their planet, because their people are dying. So then she creates this jump point that now links our quadrant with Hala. So now she's trying to steal our sun. They defeat her, of course, typical Marvel fashion, but now the jump point is still open, but it's kind of degrading in a uncontrollable manner now, because when she died, exploded or whatever, Darben, she made the jump points unstable. So someone has to close them. So who does that? Monica. Why Monica? She has light-based powers. Okay, she gets a little amp so she can fly now on, and whatever. But why is she the one who fixes it? Given that the bangles are literally in Kamala's family heritage, she should be the one to wear them. Plus, another thing. Typical Guardians 1 thing, where this guy can't handle the power, but this guy can. Darben can't handle wearing both of the bangles, but Kamala can? She can. Okay, cool. So what happens? They amp up Monica and Carol. Mind you, Kamala's wearing both bangles now. An instance that literally made Darben explode because of the overwhelming power. So now Kamala's wearing them. They're amping up Monica because she said, I'm gonna close it.
It's straight up Guardians 1, dude. Just
Exactly. So why didn't she close it? She's wearing both of them. Go close it. Why are you amping someone else to go close it? Dude, you already have both of them on. You haven't died yet. Clearly, it's like some sort of family DNA thingy. Only I can wear them bullshit. Go close the fucking portal. Go get trapped in the X-Men world and have Beast look at you, because you are a mutant. That would have been so much more significant, because she is a mutant. The only significance about this, about being Monica, is that, oh, boo-hoo, she saw her mom again. Dude, you had your mom well into adulthood. Like, give it up. I know it's sad she died. Like, give it up. She's out there emotional. Oh, mommy, I missed you. The other bitch doesn't know who she is. She's like, who are you? Why are you calling me mom? I'm assuming she never became a mother in this universe, considering she doesn't even look familiar to her, because if she had a daughter in this universe, she'd be like, oh yeah, I'm technically only significance of Monica being that side is that her mom is, again, another variant of a superhero with light-based powers. That's the only significance. Yet, if it was Kamala there, and Beast can see her, because, she had, tubes and shit on her hands, they were still, running tests on her. They found nothing yet. And then he's like, I'll contact Charles and tell him you're awake, or something like that. He said something like that, right? My thing is, if that was Kamala there, he could have immediately noticed the X gene in her, and that would have been much more significant. Because now she's actually with her own kind. She's with other mutants, and she can learn more about herself and her powers. And when she does eventually find a way to cross back into reality, she's a full-fledged hero. She's an X-Men, or, an X-Men trainee or something. But I don't understand why it had to be Monica to be trapped, when it would have been so much more significant if it was the actual fucking mutant to be trapped. The actual mutant who could use both panels to close the jump gates.
Yeah, it would have been more significant to have your Marvel movie end with an actual Miss Marvel, doing Miss Marvel stuff. But hey, what you gonna do?
Yeah. And how are they going to get back? I mean, the X-Men aren't dumb. They aren't dumbasses. But, I mean, you guys clearly haven't crossed over before. I'm assuming you don't know how to do it yet.
I mean, yeah, you're right. The X-Men aren't dumb, but then again, they're not exactly traveling across the multiverse. There's no stories of them doing that. That's an Avengers type deal or a Guardians type deal, but
Exactly. So, I don't know if maybe they're just shelving Monica for, Secret Wars or something. I just don't know how the X-Men, or that version of him at least, are gonna cross over with the 616. Because it seems like they're already established, man. I mean, she's on, I would assume, it feels like it was a space station. But given that I saw an X store, she just might be on Earth. She just might be in the X mansion. It's not specifically stated where exactly she is. We don't know if she's in a space base. We don't know if she's in the Illuminati base, because whatever, potentially. She's just in some room. She has tubes. She's in a hospital gown. And then Beast rocks up in a lab coat. So she's somewhere.
well, man, like I said, sometimes a door is just a door, and a hospital gown is just a hospital gown, a la Rhodey. It doesn't have to mean anything.
So I guess she's just part of another universe now. That's great. Good for her.
That is the second MCU project in the last 2 days to have an ending that's is that it? I mean, there's got to be more, right?
Surely this can't be the end. The thing is with Loki, at least with Loki, it did have some finality to it. We did get Loki making his own option C. He finally gets a throne. He sticks it to He Who Remains. Sylvie lives. It's a happy ending for everyone but him. Not a fully happy ending, but best you can do with what you were given. Yeah, happy enough.
Hitting this, I feel like the MCU is starting to hit the mistakes that the DCEU hit early on of this movie is just a trailer for the next movie.
The movies are so empty and vapid now. It's like a preview for what's to come, when it should be its own contained thing. I mean, this movie technically was its own thing, given that it has low ramifications for what's coming next. But given the actual, final few seconds and minutes of the movie, it just feels like filler trailer.
would you say was the worst case offender of this movie just advertising the next one?
MCU?
Like overall superhero movies in general. What's the biggest case of this movie is just a trailer for the next movie?
I would say, what was that movie where, was it, I would say BVS because of that scene with Lex and the files on every single hero. Like, and conveniently, they already have their own hero logos. And then maybe, I want to,
While you're like coming up with that second thought, personally, like I would like one could argue that Amazing Spider-Man 2 fits that, but at the same time, it does have its own story that it does wrap up. Granted, it doesn't wrap up fully, but like, you know, it does have its own thing, and it only really becomes an ad for the next movie in like the third act after, you know, Gwen dies. Then it's like, okay, now we're just setting up the next
the
film.
problem with, it seems like, well, sometimes movies can be their own contained, artistic vision of a director. Studio mandates come in and they force certain scenes that kind of take you out of the movie and go, wait, what? Why is that being shown? And then it just kind of makes you feel like they're just setting up the next thing.
Yeah. I think
Studio mandates like that.
other than BVS, I think the movie that did this the worst and suffered the biggest consequence was Tom Cruise's The Mummy reboot.
Oh, that one I've even forgotten. I think I watched like 45 or 55 minutes of that movie. And I never finished it.
Did you get to the room that he walks in and he walks past all the stuff?
Oh yeah, the jars and shit.
Yeah, that is straight up Amazing Spider-Man 2 with that guy walking.
In like a different context.
Yeah. Like,
It's like Nostafaru's head or something. Or fuck, I don't know. I remember
dude.
it was a lot. It was just like, why is this scene here?
Yeah, I mean, in the context of the movie, like Dr. Jekyll is giving them exposition, and like in the context of this film, he's giving them exposition, and this is just the room they happen to be walking in as he's giving it. But like, why is he walking around? Why can't you just like stop in an office somewhere and explain there? Why do you need to walk around the whole facility, going past like all this stuff? Like, there's a vampire skull over there. Like, that's supposed to be Dracula. There's like a claw from like some kind of mer creature. It's like, what's going on here? Like, just I don't know.
Like the camera was just following you to the convenient spots that you needed to be in.
Yeah, it's not even following them. That's what makes this so blatant. It's not even following them as they're walking through. It's panning away from them to show this stuff. But hey, man, like, just that movie overall, dude, like, it just, there were Easter eggs and references and setups for future movies everywhere. Dr. Jekyll, the way he introduces himself, he doesn't walk in and say, my name is Dr. Jekyll. He just walks in and is like, hello, my name is Dr. Henry Jekyll. And like, like the camera spotlights him solely, and then it moves as the scene moves on. Later on, when he begins to transform and like he begins to shift, like people who know Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde know what's going on. But in case you didn't, the movie will literally tell you as he puts his hand on like the scanner to like try and get out. The scanner reads in bold writing, you know, hide, access denied. Like, oh, okay. We get that. And then dude himself will say, oh, they won't let me out, pal. Like, it's like, where do you think you're going? Like, you're gonna stay here and play with your old pal, Eddie Hyde. Like, just, okay, we get it. You're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dude, move on.
I think, like, and isn't that also why sometimes they have to, like, change, like, the names or like, be vague with them for, like, the big reveal later, you know?
Yeah, because for most of this film, we had no idea who the dude was. It wasn't until they got to the big exposition room that he turned to the camera and was like, yeah, I'm Henry Jekyll. I'm like, just, oh, okay.
And I think for them, they probably think it's, like, so significant. Like, it's like a big, like a jaw drop, like what? But, come on.
Let's be real, dude. Henry, like, Jekyll and Hyde haven't really been a thing since the Incredible Hulk came on the scene. Like, he's kind of taken their whole shtick to such an extreme that the original has become irrelevant.
Exactly. Didn't they want to, I guess, revitalize that?
They did. They had a whole universe planned. Like, dude, they had a logo and everything. It was like the Universal logo would open as it was with the sun shining behind it, and then the sun would set, and the Universal logo flipped, and it read Dark Universe. Like, really? Dark Universe.
Even that name, like, is that the best you could do?
Dude!
Dark and Universe? Like, who puts the name Universe
Oh, gee.
in the studio production? Like, you don't hear them calling it, like superhero universe. Like, what?
Dude, I was feeling the same way when the logo's put. I'm like, so the Universal logo is making way for the Dark Universe. So that's it? That's your name of your studio? That's the best you got?
Like, at least call it, like, something inspired, because obviously a lot of these, you know, mythos, they're like from between the 1800s and 1900s. I feel like there's a name for that.
There was.
There's like a specific name.
Back in the day when they were doing the original, you know, Universal Studios crossovers, it was called the Monsterverse. So, right
No,
there.
I mean, like,
That's a solid name right there, dude. Like, even if
what would you call, like, all of those, like, you know, characters and mythos? Like, something inspired, man. Something like,
I mean, yeah, I get you. Dark Universe is a whack name, but dude, I mean, back in the day when they called it the Monsterverse was a solid name in itself. Stick with it.
something like monsterversal or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Just can be creative.
It's better than Dark Universe, goddamn.
Yeah.
Hey, it may be bad, but it's only the second worst universe name. Remember the CW verse?
Oh yeah. But I feel like with them, they just chose the name of the actual studio.
And Universal didn't? I mean, dude.
Yeah, but I think with them it only worked because the CW had become like such like a synonymous thing in TV and superheroes, and they just called it that.
To this day, I defend what I said way back then, man. What was wrong with the Arrowverse? The Arrowverse is a solid thing. We know who Arrow is. He's the guy who started it all. You know, just keep with it.
Probably because I think for them, they didn't want the association that the universe is revolved around him. But then he was the first show, so by proxy, use allusions to him or euphemisms. Say the man in Gotham, or like, I think they kind of fucked themselves over with that by not even trusting, like, Greg Berlatini with just even the opportunity to try and make it work.
I mean, it kind of did. I mean, Gotham isn't part of the CW, but Gotham had a pretty good Batman. It wasn't proper Batman.
Yeah, I mean, they never called him Batman.
Yeah.
They never called anyone Joker or, I think they only called Riddler once he got the outfit.
Yeah.
Because he was only like Edward Nigma. And then it was Nigma.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it was like season 2 or 3 that there was that chick who was obsessed with him, and she was like the Riddlerette. And by that point, it was like, oh, okay, he has a name now. He's established. Like, there was this thing like characters got their names not because they were names they gave to themselves, but because there was like something about them. Like Penguin got the name Penguin because like he would waddle because he had a funny walk because he had a hurt leg, and what's this, Catwoman?
Club foot or something.
Yeah. Dude, remember that there was this episode. You caught it like one night, and we were talking about it, and you told me dude forgot that he was supposed to have a funny walk, because there was a moment where he was in his house and he was walking towards the door, and he just walked like he regularly walked, and like as he gets to the door, it's almost like he went, oh shit, and then started walking funny. Oh shit, like, bruh, that made me laugh, man. Like, why didn't y'all just reshoot that? Like, dude, whatever, man. But just,
That was a good show, though.
It was.
I feel like had it gotten more love, budget-wise and writing-wise, I don't want to say it could have carried on, because the only place where you can carry on after that is Batman.
Yeah.
But I feel like they could have made more elaborate. Just look at Bruce, right? And the moment where he went from a snoveling, annoying preteen to where he became a crime-fighting vigilante who was not Batman. They could have spent so much more time in that period to really beef up just the law, like just the League of Assassins and Rage. I know, we had Rage and whatever, but we didn't even see like them in like the fucking, in the Himalayas. Like we didn't see anything that harkened, oh wow, yeah, he's out there, he's training, it just felt like the actor had to do another movie, so they just shelved him out, acted like he was still there, and then one episode he just came back into the fold, like he never left, and was like, oh yeah, Master Wayne, you're back now. Like, they really could have spent more time in that capacity just to build up Bruce Wayne and build up the fact that he is changed, because it didn't really feel like he changed, because all he really got was the slightest better, considering that, well, Alfred already taught him a few hand-to-hand combat skills. Like, just how much better did he get when he was away?
I mean, not a lot. He clearly... Also, that in itself was a mistake, I feel, because it just rushed everything. Because by the end of that show, before Bruce was even Batman, he'd already met the League, he'd already met Riddler, and not the Joker, but, like,
the inspiration for the Joker as character. He'd already met Selena, Gordon, all that before he even became Batman. Like, this show did a lot.
I understand it, man, because, like, when you're dealing with the 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old Bruce Wayne, there aren't that many interesting things happening in his life at that point. Besides, maybe losing his mind, losing himself, and then being Batman before Batman. Because we do know that at the end of the day, the way Bruce Wayne sees himself, or the way he has seen himself since the day his parents died, has always been Batman. But the precursor to Batman is just being an individual who no longer sees life the same, an individual who believes in crime fighting or justice, sometimes to a halting extreme, and he'll probably do whatever it takes to get it. That element is what would later become Batman, but that is how Bruce has viewed himself since his parents died. Since his parents died, he no longer viewed himself as Bruce Wayne. So, even with that, I feel like they had to build upon it to be like, okay, in these years, he did have that mentality, but nothing interesting happened in his life. Because even in Batman Begins, we see, obviously, Christian Bale doing his best to be a teenager. We see him, with the gun and trying to kill Coon and whatnot, and then him deciding not to, and then him then deciding to go on this worldwide trek in which he would eventually become Batman at the end of it. You don't really have a show then otherwise.
Yeah.
So I guess they were forced to. I mean, I'm not complaining. It worked in a few bits, but in other places it just didn't work, like with Bane, like with more extreme characters like Bane and like.
That's another thing, man. Like Bruce meeting his entire rogues gallery before he's even Batman. It's just there was so much they had to cram. It felt like they had to cram it all in there, like freaking Zaz and Tetch and dude, Mr. Pig, like dude.
Yeah, like I don't get it, man. I mean, I do, but shit, be more like creative, like at least show us something meaningful, like perhaps show Bruce's descent into madness following trying to investigate his parents' murder, and then seeing something that is intrinsically connected to it, like the Court of Owls, have a meet Talon and whatever. Have it be a little bit more impactful than just, every week he meets a villain that he would have fought as an adult, because you've kind of got nothing to fill in. They could have been more creative with that.
It's definitely something that I wish the show would have worked on better. Instead of just having him face his rogues gallery as Bruce Wayne, like, if you can't make him Batman, then, like, stop having him do Batman-esque stuff, going up against Batman villains, like, it does not make sense for this teenager. Yeah, admittedly he's a teenager who can fight, but it still doesn't make sense for him to be going up against grown men.
Dude, and even that whole, like, Arkham, side, I guess what can you call it? That side story about Arkham and he's with Hugo Strange, and it just felt like too much too quickly, man. What the fuck? There's a grown man, Hugo Strange. What does he have anything to do with the teenager? Like some rich spoiled brat. Like, why do you have beef with him? Why does Bane have beef with him? Like, why does anyone have any bit of conflict with this
has nothing to do with him. A lot of that has nothing to do with him specifically. It's just the Wayne family name and the Wayne company.
Exactly. And if that's the case, below Board of Trustees, CFO, CEO, directors, there's so many people you can deal with, and instead, you go to the fucking kid who just inherited shit. Like, he just inherited it, man. He has no hand in any of your atrocities. Zero.
Plus, at no point, or very selected points in the show, do we ever actually see him doing, like, Wayne Enterprises stuff. Like, we not once do we see him in, like, a boardroom or any of that. His company is basically running itself.
Like, the most he does is, he'll buy a club, or he'll funnel some funds to Alfred, because he wants Alfred to buy something, or he wants Alfred to, like, invest in something. We don't see any of, like, that business prowess, that intelligence. For the most part, he just acts like Batman Begins Bruce Wayne at the very beginning, when he's like, I'll buy this restaurant, thank you. Like, and even that, it doesn't seem more like an act, and it just seems like Bruce is just an asshole. He's just an asshole of a kid. He disrespects Alfred, treats him like shit, despite the fact that he's the only family he has left. Like, I don't know.
He does.
Don't get me wrong. It's a good show. It was a good show for what it was, but it had a lot of things to speak about, you know?
Yeah. Just that whole arc of, like, of him treating Alfred like crap was set after he killed Ra's al Ghul. Granted, Ra's doesn't die. Obviously, he'll use that pull and he'll come back. But, like, in Bruce's eyes, like, he just killed a guy, and it's affecting him. But the very act that he killed a dude, it just, like, I know he's not Batman yet, but, like, Bruce Wayne would kill a guy. Just doesn't seem right. Yeah, I know Batman is the guy with the no-kill rule, but still, dude, you'd have to think that's a rule he's... Like, even as Batman, he'll say, like, ever since he saw his parents gunned down, he's wanted to value life and all that. So, having Bruce kill Ra's is like... Dude, it wasn't even, like, killed him in...
That's what makes Bruce noble.
Yeah, it wasn't even, like, a self-defense thing. He killed him. Like... Dude... It just undermines all that. It wasn't even... They didn't even have a thing where he's like, from this point on, I'm gonna value life or whatever. Because after that, he tries to track down Joe too, which is to murder him. Like, and Joe is this old ass dude, and it's like, he's pathetic now. It's like, you know that the season of Avatar where Katara tracked down the firebender who killed her mother, and she finally saw him, like, he wasn't this, like, boogeyman from her nightmares, just, like, some pathetic old guy living retired in some, like, house in the hills or something, just, he was kind of like that, he was like, she went there intent on murdering him. There's no two ways about it. If she met him as he was, all evil and sinister and, like death to all waterbenders and shit, she would have killed his ass. No two ways about it. Same thing with Bruce. If he'd went over there and Joe Chill was scummy and villainous and evil as he was that night in the alley, he'd have killed him. Yeah. The only reason he's able to maintain that, he didn't kill Joe Chill is solely because, like, he saw him as this, like, pathetic old man. It's like, damn, like, I was gonna invalidate, like, my semblance of honor for this old dude. Like, I've allowed this decrepit old man to just be a terror in my life and, like, no more. And he walks away. And Joe kills himself anyway, so it just makes the whole thing pointless.
Yeah. They probably should have just like. I feel like they should have dealt with the trauma of Bruce maybe towards the end of the show, because in that sense, I'm not saying they can like recast or they should, but seeing a closer to adulthood Bruce dealing with his demons is much more impactful, since it's the only thing stopping him from maturing as a full adult. Like, take the Bruce that you saw in the last episode, right? That adult Bruce that was like never really shown without a mask. If we had that Bruce dealing with the shadows and demons of his past, that would have been much more impactful, given that Bruce cannot move on into the next phase of his life without sorting out those things, or at least trying to. And then in trying to, he realizes, this is fruitless. It won't get me anywhere. I should stop this. And then he becomes Batman. But now when you have him dealing with it as like a fucking 15-year-old, it just takes away all of the power behind it. Because it's like, he's just an obnoxious brat out for revenge. I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, it definitely. You feel like him finding Joe Chill should have been something they pushed more towards the end of the show.
Yeah. Jesus.
Man,
I don't know. For a lot of its mistakes, it equally had a lot of good moments. And a lot of, like, it had a lot of emotional beats that really landed. Like, even his bond with Selena Kyle. That was a nice one. I don't mind the fact that it began so young, because if anything, it lends some weight to them as adults, being that, okay, none of them realize who the other is, but in some capacity, they've always fallen or been weak to and for one another. Like, it's kind of a nice, endearing story to be like, okay, well, yeah, Batman has always liked Catwoman because Bruce always liked Selena. And then when eventually they find out who each respective person is, it then, adds a lot more emotional weight to that. That, oh, we in fact are in some weird cosmic sense, destined for each other.
absolutely. It definitely. I remember earlier you were like, it's not like we can't exactly age up the character, but they aged up Poison Ivy more than once. To say,
Which is weird, right?
yeah,
Maybe they just wanted some contrast. I honestly can't imagine. I can't imagine them doing it in a bigger scope. Like in a movie,
you can't see.
that won't work.
You don't think it would work if Poison Ivy went into a cocoon and emerged older, played by a different actor?
The problem is, it's all about the suspension of disbelief. Is she just a rapidly aging plant being, or is she a mutated human with plant powers? Because you have to pick and choose what you will and won't show. Like, for example, is Selena just a random
is of the characters on this show, she's one of the few who has like proper like powers. Cause like yeah, she controls plant life, but like everyone else can be explained in some fashion. Fish Mooney is an outlier in that, but like, you know, that to one side. When you look at Victor Fries, actually, I'm not even gonna call him Fries. He's Freeze, okay? It's Freeze, motherfuckers. It's Victor Freeze, okay? I'm just gonna say it. Victor Freeze is just a guy with a
word comic political jargon.
yeah. So Victor Freeze, yeah, he's just a guy. He's got a condition, and he's got like an ice cannon and ice-related technology. Firefly is a pyromaniac, and everybody else has their thing. You can easily explain it with the technology and gear that they use. Like, of everyone here, the only person with any actual, like, superpowers of any kind is Poison Ivy and Grundy, to an extent, but he's just a zombie, really. So,
yeah. We at least saw the character who he used to be. And then with that, we saw, you know, his transformation. I mean, death and transformation. But most importantly, his transformation. But even that is, in a sense, ever so slightly confusing. Because, excuse me, how do you explain that? You know, it's kind of like the same way Swamp Thing becomes a, you know, or was it Man Thing?
no, it was Swamp Thing. I mean, both. Because they both, you know.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. Because Swamp Thing was a guy who died in the swamp and became, you know, part of this swamp-like creature. Man Thing was just a swamp-like creature. He wasn't a dude who fell in or anything. He was just, you know, swamp.
I don't know. Wait. Man Thing was Marvel. I keep forgetting.
Man Thing is Marvel.
Swamp Thing. Man Thing is Marvel.
Yeah.
And he was that doctor. But then isn't Swamp Thing, wasn't he like a random guy as well? I mean, he wasn't like a smart, because I remember that show that was cancelled by, I think, was it HBO Max or something? But there was a show that was cancelled.
On the third episode, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
How the hell did that
He was
happen?
a guy, and then the swamp consumed him, and then he was out for revenge, and then he became infused with nature. But then the other guy, he became that, and then he became the protector of the swamp, because there's some sort of multiversal portal in the swamp, and that's just even a crazy thing. Like that's like a crazy sort of